Hey, morning guys. Got a couple hours out here today before got to get ready to go to work, but we're gonna get cutting on this door. We're not gonna cut it all the way out. We're gonna cut the lines and leave about probably a ½ inch on each corner here. I don't know if y'all can see the marker in the video, but right here on this Sharpie, I'll leave about a ½ inch on each corner. So this way ½ inch, this way ½ inch, all the way around. That way, when I get these hinges in and the flat bar tomorrow, go ahead and weld my hinges on, and then as I put the flat bar on, I can cut that corner out. So, you know, if I'm gonna start on this one over here, I can cut that bottom corner out there and then cut this one out. Same thing with here and here. Put that flat bar on there, tack it on, get it nice and snug, and then same thing all the way around. That way, by the time I have all the bars on, the door will be completely loose and the hinges will be on, which will keep it in its place. Obviously, you can lift it up and down and you don't have to worry about it shifting too much left or right, and we can get it finished getting that flat bar welded on pretty good. The hinges and the handle, the door handle, were supposed to be here last night. I just got an email saying they'll be here today. I probably won't have time to mess with them at all when they get here. So I'll do a little video, open them up, and show you or send you the information for the guy that I got them from. They look like they're gonna be pretty good quality. Got good reviews, so yeah, I'll stop the rambling now and we'll get busy cutting this door. Alright guys, just took this little bit of a cutting disc I got left and just put a nice little line. You can see it kind of wiggled just a little bit, but that's the whole point of doing this right now. Get that little channel down in there, all the way down on my line. That way when I put this big, well not big, but when I put this full size cutting disc on there, I won't have all that bouncing and wobbling right off the rip. So get that little channel in there, something for that disc to sit down in. And I honestly might go and just do another pass on it just to get it that much deeper. I only have that little disc and those two big discs before I got to run to the store and get more. So trying to make every cut count. Ideally, I'd be doing this with my torch, but I got to run down to another town and get some parts for it for my tank. The tank that I have now doesn't fit the hose that I have for my torches. So I just got to go get some parts for it tomorrow before work, and then that's what we'll use to cut the 1/4 inch sheet metal out for the firebox, and the 20-inch pipe, which I went and got the other day. I'll show that to you guys real quick. Again, don't judge the little shop here. That's the 20-inch pipe, gonna be the inside sleeve for the fire pit. I'm sorry, the firebox. So I'll put that as 20 inches. I'll put it inside a 24 by 24 box, and then insulation in all the empty places between the two boxes. Not that insulation, that's for something else. It's fireproof insulation. So I only need, that's 41 inches. So I only need 24 inches of that. Maybe like 23 3/4 probably, but I think I'm gonna use the rest of it for, I'm gonna make me a little Santa Maria grill and some legs, a little chain, go up and down, you know, away from your fire and stuff. I think that's the plan for the rest of it. Or if I have somebody else that wants another one of these fire pits, that'll be another sleeve for the inside of their firebox. I think I picked the hottest day this year to come out here and start doing this stuff. Waylon's trying to find any shade he can get. But back to the tank. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more pass around that. Get that channel just a little bit deeper. Use up the last little bit of that cutting disc I have on that angle grinder right now, and then we'll get in there and cut all that stuff out. that second pass went pretty quick. Nothing to it really, but that's what I mean by using all I got. And I can still use that for something small later on down the road. Use them until you just absolutely can't use them no more. They're not that expensive, but I think they're $5, $6, $7 each. But I like to use every little bit of it. And if I can use these little ones for something simple like this, just cutting little cuts that don't really mean too much, that's what we'll do. And then save the bigger ones for the deep cuts where you get in there and you want that full blade to cut through there and make that process go a little quicker. Y'all turn around here. Got that second one. And I know it was on time lapse, so it's kind of hard for y'all to tell, but even with that first little channel I did, it sits right down in there. And it just sits in there, and it doesn't really do anything other than just keeps it from, especially when you get these new ones, they have that, they're not 100% balanced, so they want to bounce. So that little channel just gives you a little bit of, just a little leg up, you know, it'll hold it just a little bit, make that nice clean cut. We're gonna try to make this cut as thin and as tight as possible. That way, obviously, keep as much smoke in there and you don't have a big gap where all your smoke's gonna be leaking out. We can fix that issue when we put our flat bar on there. It'll act as a gasket more or less on there. And I actually think I'm gonna put that flat bar on the outside here, and I'm actually gonna line the inside of the door as well. Just overdoing it, really, that's all it comes down to, just making it nice, tight, good looking, well functioning tank. I know it doesn't look like much now, but we're gonna get to the beautification part of it later on down the road. As far as what we're gonna make it look like, I was talking to my wife the other day and I asked her opinion, you know, do you want it, you think it would look good, real shiny, nice color, copper color, or root beer, burgundy, you know, real nice, shiny, high gloss, the whole thing, the stack, the tank, the firebox, all that stuff, or just keep cutting like I'm cutting, burn it, sand it down flat, and then high gloss clear the patina. And she said she thinks the patina would look good, so that's what we're gonna go with, just a nice shiny patina tank. So all the little cuts, all the little marks we make on here, we'll get that surface rust over the next couple weeks working on this thing, and we'll burn that fire in it, take some sandpaper, sand it down real nice and smooth, and get our high gloss painted on there. But again, enough of the rambling. Let's get this camera backed up a little bit, go ahead and cut most of this door out except for the corners like we talked about. Well, I don't know if you can tell in that time lapse how fast that last one went from this to this. Didn't even get that whole bottom line cut. Started on that end, and I'm right there. So I got to go to here. So that's what I was talking about, using these little ones. I just put this little one on there. I don't think it'll finish that whole cut, but it'll save the life of this one for a little bit. Call it cheap, call it what you want, but get all the money out of everything. So yeah, get back to cutting it with this, switch over to that, keep it running as far as these 1 1/4 disc will get me. Yep, bring y'all back up here in just a minute. All right, well, that's all she wrote for the disc. Got that one all the way cut, all the way through, except for not even as wide as my finger right there. Just to see if I can get y'all in there. No, it's hard to tell, but didn't cut that corner. Got the bottom one cut, and then got this top one cut just past the halfway mark for the top of the door. Like I said, I gotta go tomorrow and get a handful of those cutting discs apart from my torch, and we'll be able to get the rest of this stuff cut out. But since we're already out here, we're already sweating and we're already in the heat, I'm gonna take this flap disc right here and I'm gonna hit all my stuff right here. I'm gonna just get it nice and shiny all the way around my line on the door, because I'm gonna have to do it anyways. When it comes time to weld, you need that nice clean surface to weld those flat bars on there for your little gaskets or door trim, whatever you want to call it. So we're already here. It's gonna need to be done eventually, so go ahead and just do what I can and get those about 1 inch on either side of that line nice and shiny. Just hit it with a flap disc. Probably hit it one more time before we go to actually weld, but that got us started. I don't really need to do the outside of that line because my bar stock is going to go right here, and I'm going to tack it on this, so it only really needs to be on the inside. But did it anyways. Tomorrow morning I'll get the kids off to school, go get some more cutting discs, and we'll get this door finished cutting out, and hopefully these hinges show up tomorrow. Go ahead and get them on so we have a working door. We can start working on the inside. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just get the tank pretty much done as far as getting that door cut out, putting the hinges on it, putting the flat bar all the way around, maybe even go ahead and cut my slot for my collector on the end, open that door up and get the shelves on there, the rack for the shelves, all that stuff, before I come over here and cut this out. Or I might cut that, actually I think I'm gonna cut that out first. Don't put the firebox on it, that way I'll know where my racks and everything can sit, because I'm gonna do pull out racks on the top. I haven't really figured out if I'm gonna do them on the bottom or not, because if I do them on the bottom, you got to come up off that lip a little bit to be able to slide it out. If you don't do slide outs on the bottom, you can drop them down flush, give you a nice flush look. And then I'm gonna do it all the way from side to side. It's gonna be a rack. So if they do slide out, only between where the door is at will slide. The rest of it will be fixed, where you can put your water pan over here. I'm gonna have that damper so it won't be as hot, but it'll still be a little bit warmer right there than it will the rest of it. Hopefully with the correct damper, I can get it pretty equal across the whole chamber. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards just flush all the way across on the bottom. That way with no pullouts. That way it just looks nice, clean, flush, easy to pull your meat in and out. There'll be enough room on top where I can put stuff on the bottom and still reach in and grab it without having to worry about it. Or if I'm not cooking as much meat where I don't need that top rack, just take that top rack out and then you can reach all the way in there and do what you need to do. So we'll figure it out once we get in there and look at it, measure it, see what we're working with. But I think I'm gonna work on this tank, getting it farther on down the road before I start messing with that firebox. But I am gonna need my end cut and that collector slot cut just so I can know where to put my rack. I've been looking at all the equations and calculators online as far as how much of a cutout you need here, how much of a cutout you need on the collector, how big your firebox. So I got all the math down, and I've got my dimensions for what I need. So it's a matter of just getting the supplies and putting in the work to get it done. But that's gonna do it for today. Hopefully those hinges will get here and we can do a little bit more tomorrow before I head off to work, but that's where we stand right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the next day. Just got back from running a bunch of errands. Went and got some flat bar, which I paid way too much for. The steel houses out here have a minimum of like $200, which isn't crazy if you need a lot of metal, but I only needed some flat bar today, which was like $40 for a 20-foot stick, and I didn't want to pay $200 in order to get that 40. So went to Home Depot and paid like $75 for 12 feet instead of $40 for 20 feet. But I mean, I guess I could have went over there and just went ahead and got some metal that I needed, but whatever. It is what it is. Either way, I got the flat bar. The hinges came in last night. I'll show you guys those here in just a little bit. Bought a bunch more cutting discs. I think I got like a 15 pack of them for $30 or something like that. So I got about an hour before I got to get ready for work. So let's see if I can't at least get the majority of this door cut out, if not all of it, except for the corners cut out, before I gotta put everything up and go hop in the shower. So let's get those discs out of the truck and get cutting. All right, guys, we got all the lines cut, leaving the corners. I want to go ahead and, while I have a couple more minutes, I want to go ahead and find where I want to put these hinges. Everything I've looked at, everything I've read, everything I've seen online, doesn't really matter where you put them. Obviously, you don't want to put them, you have a 36-inch door, you don't want to put them right dead on top of each other and you have all this weight on the outside. So I'm going to try to find a nice medium, equal spot where they look good. Plus the handle is 18 inches, so I might just do them in line with those. I don't know if I want to do them inside of them, outside of them, or just have them all in parallel, or all in line, I guess you would say. So let me get in here and play with this for just a minute, and then we'll figure out what we got going on. See if I can get this video without the hand shaking too bad on me right now. But found my middle between seam and seam, which is not going to be always, that seam is not always going to be straight all the way around, or on the other side as well. So just from what I have on my center, from my 12 o'clock top dead center, I'm just basing it off of that because that's what you're going to see. So from here to here, whether that line's crooked or not, that's the center of this line, which is what I'm making it off of right now. So that's center. I went 10 inches this way. This is where I was going to put it at 9. I thought 10 might look a little better. So 10 inches this way leaves me 7 3/4. And then I went 10 inches this way, leaves me 7 3/4. The reason for doing that, I think it'll be a nice happy medium between the metal. Obviously, you leave a lot of chunk here in the middle, but that shouldn't be too bad. Give it enough from the center to not have this door on the end, that weight affect anything. And then my handle is 18 inches plus the brackets. I think the brackets are probably 1/2 inch. So you're looking at 19 inches. So it should fit. They won't be directly in line, but I think it'll look good with that, with the hinge. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this through the phone. With the hinge here, then maybe the handle here. So kind of like hinge where my finger's at, and then the edge of the handle bracket where my thumb's at, just a little bit inside of it. I think it'll look pretty good. As far as the door, we are cut all the way around, leaving just the corners. I'll get in there tomorrow once I get this these hinges welded on, and cut those corners out with a sawzall with a metal blade, and then come back with a file, make it nice and smooth, or even one of these fine disc or a flap disc or something, just to get a nice, smooth, perfect corners, make it look good. Let's see, the hinges, I think I brought them out here. I did. So here's the hinges. Well, I might as well grab the other one while I'm at it. All right. Don't worry, that shop's gonna get a little makeover once this project's over with. So, looking something like that. I want to put that bolt right on that line, perfect pivot point on the line. I think that'll look badass. Go right down through there like this. Obviously that's not straight or anything, just what it's got, but yeah, I think that'll be cool. That'll be sweet. So that's the project for tomorrow, is to get the hinges on for sure. I'd like to get that flat bar on here too. And the handles, I'd like to have the door completely done tomorrow as far as getting it opening and functional. Obviously, we still got to put, we got to get all that weird metal tape off of it. We still have stuff to do on it. But as far as it being an actual functioning door, we should have it done tomorrow. That's what those should look like. Obviously, they'll sit up like this. And then I think I'm going to get those nuts as tight as I need them to where they're nice and snug. I'm going to cut that little tip off right there and just put me a couple tack welds on it, just to, I don't have to worry about that, the chattering or the loosening up on me or having to constantly tighten them up. I'm going to get them right where I want them, and then I'm going to pop some welds on there. I did go get my torches fixed today. Let me show you guys. Don't judge anything, man. It's all kind of just happened at once, but I'm trying to do this one-handed. So that's the acetylene torch I had. And my regulator gauges, whatever you want to call them, wouldn't fit. So had to go buy this bad boy, which they think very highly of this piece. I think that this little fitting right here was $42, $43, something like that. Just to be able to, I can't do this one-handed. And obviously I got it a little back-asswards, but you get the gist. I'll be able to run that torch now, which is gonna allow me to get in here and, yeah, don't worry about the tripod. That's why I keep the phone on. It's my hunting tripod that I use for filming my hunts. But anyways, be able to get in here with that torch set. I'm gonna find me a little place and get it down to the bare metal, get that big 3-inch flat bar, tack it on here a couple times, and then heat that thing up and curve it perfectly with this tank. That way I can cut out my pieces for this and they'll have the same curve as the tank. I didn't realize when I bought that metal that I got 3/8 flat bar, and this tank, I believe, I haven't looked, I believe it's 1/4 inch. So I'll make, if it is different size metals, obviously I'll make this side nice and flush. The inside you might see a little thicker piece of patch metal there, and I have made up my mind. I am going to cut those bad boys out, get rid of them. I think it might be a little pain in the ass with all that pitting that's right there. So we'll play with it. We'll figure it out. But nevertheless, we do have to fill in those holes one way or another, all 4 of them. So that's the projects we got coming up. Let me go in here and get ready for work. But hopefully tomorrow we'll get cracking on the welding and have that thing working. Have us a real door on there. And then after that, it's collector cutout part. We're not going to build the collector yet, just the cutout for it. Start building the inside racks, so that way I can find out where I want to cut out my firebox, inlet, throat, whatever you call it. Yeah, that's where we're at. If you guys have any questions or comments, input, anything like that, please feel free to put it down in the comments, and we will, I'll definitely take a look at them, see if it's something we need to do or address or whatever. So appreciate y'all watching, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. Hey, good morning, guys. It's about 8:30 in the morning. A little wet out here, which is kind of nice. It's keeping it a lot cooler than it has been the last 2 days, but nevertheless, out here trying to tackle this smoker and get us an actual functioning door today. So the plan is going to be get our area cleaned up for our hinges, get the flat bar put on, and hopefully our handle. At least everything tacked into place. I don't know if I'm going to run full welds or not, but at least tacked in. Cut the corners of our door, get them all nice and flat and crisp edges, and see if we can at least walk out of here before work with a working door. So let's get everything pulled out and get to it. Well, guys, my phone died halfway through that time lapse, but I got it back on the charger and finished out what I could of it. I got the hinges tacked on there, got them even spaced here to there, in the middle here's the same, and then from center to center in the back's the same. So we're dead on there as far as even goes. 12.5 inches from the front to the lip, 12.5 from the front to the lip. And the only thing I think might be a problem is this pivot point on the hinges here. I think I might should have put it another inch back or so, half inch or so, just to put that pivot point a little farther back, make it easier to open that door without a counterweight, because I'm not a big fan of all the huge counterweights sticking up in the air. And that's a 3-foot door, so I mean, it's not going to be light, but I don't think it'll be anything we can't handle. So we're going to roll with it where it is now. It'll work, don't get me wrong. I think it might be a little bit easier to lift if it was back a little bit, but I got them tacked. I'm gonna put some a couple more tacks on there just to hold it even better, and we'll start working on this flat bar and go from there. Got the hinges welded on, tacked on, welded on, whatever. They're in there, they're not going nowhere. I think now the plan's gonna be, I'm gonna cut out these bottom corners and put my piece of flat bar on that bottom corner before I cut anything else out. That way, get those cut so they're free, put that bar on there, come back and cut these off. So that way we have a functioning door, and then that flat bar that's on here will catch it. We'll keep it from falling in on itself. And then once we do that, then we can get the rest of these cut out and put the flat bar around that to get our door trim put on. So cut this thing out, get the flat bar, cut the length, get it thrown on there, and keep on pushing. there she sits, guys. Got the handles on, are tacked in place. The hinges are tacked in place. Level on the hinges. I'm sorry, on the handle. And it's hard to see in this video, but that tank's sitting pretty dead level too. Well, not pretty dead level, it is dead level. So it's raining. Sorry for the noise, but that's how she's sitting right now. She's coming along. About to get these doors. This side's already loose. That side's loose. I'm gonna cut those top ones. And here in just a few minutes, we'll have us a functioning door. Old buddy's trying to stay out of the rain. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a working, functioning smoker door. You can see the little lip right there. It's just probably the wrong phrase, but falling in on itself right now. That's what that door trim will keep it nice and snug, keep it where it's supposed to be. But it works. The handle, that stainless steel handle twists in your hand. Boom. It's gonna be a task cleaning this thing out. There she is. I'm gonna come in here next. I need something to hold that door up so it don't fall down on itself. But come in here in just a minute and you can see that right there. Just get that flat disc and get these edges nice. Don't take anything off of them so they stay as tight as possible, but get them nice and cleaned up so you ain't got all them burrs sticking off of it. It's a door. You can see how that door, it looks like it's crooked right here. It's these nuts and bolts up here. See, that door can shift left and right. They just need to be tightened up. I'm gonna cut the tip of that bolt off and weld it once I get it where I want it. Right now, I'm gonna use that to my advantage. And the camera's a little crooked too, but I promise it's level. So, and so is, I mean, I guess it could be level if the tank was crooked, but I don't know if you can see it or zoom in on your video, whatever, but it's level right there as well. So it looks really crooked in the video, I admit, but everything's level, everything's great. I'm gonna use that wobble to my advantage and put these door trims around. Once I get these door trims where I want them and around the side tacked into place, then we'll tighten those bolts up, get that door exactly where we want it. Cut the tips of those bolts off, tack weld them, or actually just run a big weld on them so they don't ever come off. And then go from there. But running a little out of time, so I'm gonna try to run through this real quick and get this done before I have to hop in the shower for work. So bear with me and let's get to it. I know this probably isn't the best angle, but just trying to let y'all see what I got going on here. So, yeah, this is what a tailor would use for your suit. I couldn't find a pipe measure and none of that, so Walmart came in, it works. So you can see that lip that I have right there. So what I did is I got that flat bar nice and flat on top of my tank. So no lip on this side, little lip on this side. So I tacked it on each end and then right in the middle. And what I was talking about with those bolts being loose, I don't know how good you can see it in the camera, but if you see that movement right there, I can close that gap completely. Just bring it up to the bottom side of that piece of metal, then it'll be flush. So I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna put one of these wooden shims I have on the bottom side of this door, and it'll pull that side up like that. And then I can pull that other side up and I can tack both of them. And then they'll be flush. Once I get my good little spot welds all the way down this thing, come back, cut those off, and they'll be good to go. I am overhanging, you probably saw it on the bottom. I'm overhanging this side of the door with each one of these. So I cut them, they're overhanging. I'm gonna come back, get my next piece of flat bar that I want, and I'm gonna run it down here and make a mark. I'm gonna cut this out to where it's nice and straight, and I'm gonna run that piece down this way on both sides, and then put me a weld on there and hit it with that flat disc and get it nice and smooth. It'll be one big transition, or one big flawless door trim. There'll be no cracks, none of that stuff. So that's by design, overhanging the door like that, and you'll see it here in a little bit whenever we get farther on down the road. But let's get cracking on this top piece, and then we can do the sides. Took us a little bit, but we finally got us a functioning door with some trim on it. I just have it tacked all the way around. I'll come back and weld it up all the way. I don't have the prettiest welds. They're definitely not the ugliest either, but I'm not the best welder, nor have I ever claimed to be, but it is on there. It is straight. It opens, it closes. I think we're still gonna run that inside right around the lip, do the same thing. But don't worry about this. That's just the overhang. I'm in a rush right now. I'll come back and clean that up. Again, those welds, we're gonna flap disc them, so don't worry about that. It'll hold, it'll look good. Got that all done. The handle I could not be proud or happier with. It'll be cool. I can't wait. Hinges look good. Smoker looks good. Time to go get ready for work. That'll do it for the second video, part 2. And part 3, we'll start, we'll touch up some of those welds. I'm not gonna fully weld everything until I'm ready just to start going crazy on the welds. So as long as it'll hold for now, we'll leave it like it is. And come back in here. I plan on coming back in with my torch and then heating that up a little bit and just bend it just that much more tight, that much snugger, if that's a word. But yeah, part 2 is over. Stay tuned for part 3.